There is a clock buried under your fruit tree right now. It is ticking silently in the dark. Every single day, that clock is making a decision you cannot see. A decision between wood and fruit. It governs the movement of every drop of energy the tree captures from the sun. And for most backyard gardeners, that clock is stuck. It is set to the wrong time for the wrong goal. If you do not intervene, the tree will make the wrong choice every single year, not by accident. It is not because your tree is sick. It is not because your soil lacks nutrients or water. It is because the tree is following a set of rules that were never meant for your survival. Abundance is not luck. It is the result of a biological conversation you must initiate. In the wild, trees are programmed for one thing: survival through competition and height. Survival means getting bigger. It means growing taller than the neighbors to steal the light. Think of your tree as a biological bank account. It has a strictly fixed energy budget every year. The energy it earns from the sun is finite. Every gram of sugar must be carefully allocated. The tree splits its budget into 3 specific accounts: growth, maintenance, and reproduction. Account 1 is growth. This builds the wood, the bark, and the structural roots to stay standing. Account 2 is maintenance. This is the energy spent just to keep the existing system alive. Account 3 is reproduction. This is where the flowers and the fruit are finally born. But fruit is the most expensive investment a tree can make. It costs more than feet of wood. In the wild, a tree that chooses fruit over height is shaded out and dead within a decade. This is the programming your tree follows. It is a legacy of millions of years of forest warfare. Your mission is to rewrite that code. You must convince the tree that fruit is the priority. There are 2 precise windows every year when you can redirect this biological energy. The first window is late winter. The tree is dormant, sleeping, and ready for structural reform. Winter pruning is about the architecture. You are building the frame to carry future harvests. The second window is August. This is the window that separates the masters from the amateurs. In August, you catch the tree as it stops growing wood. You force it to convert energy into fruit. Every cut in August stimulates the growth of fruiting spurs. These are your true production nodes. A well-managed spur can produce for 15 years. It is the highest return in your garden. The apple tree is the foundation of the orchard. It is forgiving, but it requires structure. The ideal shape is the pyramid. The lowest branches must always be the longest for light. Always cut back to an outward-facing bud. This keeps the center of the tree open for the sun. Sunlight is the raw fuel. Pruning is the steering wheel that directs that fuel into your fruit. A well-pruned apple tree can triple its yield in just 3 seasons of consistent work. The pear tree is a vigorous warrior. It pushes wood faster than anything else in the garden. You must be aggressive in the early years. Establish the scaffold before it hardens into wood. The plum tree is a sensitive lineage. It faces a silent fungal enemy called silverleaf. Silverleaf enters through open wounds in damp weather. It can kill a branch in 1 season. Cherry trees want to reach the clouds. Without management, your harvest stays out of reach. Prune for height control. Keep your leaders within 15 feet or give the fruit to the birds. The peach tree is the most demanding member of the orchard. It requires constant attention. You must train it into an open goblet. Remove the central leader and let the sun inside. The apricot is the early riser. It blooms before the last frost is gone, making timing critical. Wait for the coldest nights to pass before pruning. Your 10-day forecast is your best friend. Watch for bacterial canker. These weeping lesions can colonize and kill a tree from the inside. The clock starts in the soil. Below the surface, a hidden world of microbes powers the roots. Mycorrhizal fungi extend the root system's reach, mining the earth for minerals and water. Every layer of mulch and compost you add is a long-term deposit into the tree's energy bank. When the soil biology is thriving, the tree's internal clock runs at peak efficiency. Never forget, the harvest is a reflection of the health of the dark core beneath the tree. The tree is mining the deep earth to build the sweetness you will taste in the summer. Water is the messenger. It carries the nutrients and the hormones through the clock's veins. High water pressure in the spring fuels the wood. Controlled stress in summer fuels the fruit. The timing of hydration influences every major decision the tree's internal clock makes. Water deeply and infrequently. This forces the clock to build roots that can survive anything. Moderate heat and thirst in late summer tell the tree that the time for growing wood is over. The final swell of the fruit is a miracle of hydraulic engineering directed by your hand. The clock also governs defense. A healthy tree can trigger its own chemical warfare. When attacked, the tree sends out chemical signals to call for reinforcements from the air. A weak tree with a broken clock is a target. It lacks the energy to fight back. Pruning is a defensive measure. It removes the damp, dark spots where pests and fungi thrive. Your orchard is an ecosystem. Support the allies and the clock will protect itself. Resilience is the ultimate goal. A tree that knows how to feed itself and defend its fruit. In June, the clock makes another decision. It drops the fruit it knows it cannot finish. You must assist. By thinning the crop manually, you tell the clock where to send the energy. Too much fruit is a trap. It leads to small, flavorless harvests and broken branches. One perfect apple is worth more to the clock and to you than 10 bitter, tiny ones. It feels like a waste, but it is an investment. Be brave and prune the fruit to save the tree. The result is a harvest of giants, fruit that has received every drop of the tree's focus. Grafting is the joining of two clocks, the rootstock's engine and the scion's fruit. The rootstock provides the resilience and the pace. The scion provides the legacy and the flavor. It is a biological surgery that allows us to grow ancient varieties on modern, hardy roots. This hybrid vigor is what allows commercial orchards to produce thousands of tons of fruit. You can even host multiple clocks on one tree, growing a full harvest in a tiny space. When the union is perfect, the two clocks become one, a singular focused force of nature. Humans have been talking to the root clock for thousands of years. It is a forgotten art. The Romans understood that the winter cut was the forge where the summer feast was made. Monasteries became the keepers of the clock, breeding varieties that survived the dark ages. They knew that a tree's energy was a gift to be directed, not a wild force to be ignored. Every manual from the past 1,000 years carries the same warning. Winter is the master. By the Victorian era, the science of the clock was a pinnacle of biological engineering. Let's revisit the biology. Pruning is a hormonal conversation between roots and sky. When you cut, you trigger hormones like auxin and cytokinin. These decide leaf versus fruit. The vascular system has a finite capacity. Pruning redirects the flow to fewer points. Fewer growth points means higher sap pressure. This results in larger, sweeter fruit. We measure it in bricks, the concentration of sugars and minerals that gives flavor depth. Proper pruning ensures your homegrown fruit is always superior to store-bought clones. The layout of your orchard is the clock's physical map. Spacing is everything. A north-south orientation ensures that the low winter sun hits both sides of every tree. Cramming trees too close is the fastest way to stop the clock. Competition leads to wood. Every tree needs its own subterranean kingdom. Roots must expand without war. A perfect layout is a gift to the future. It sets the pace for the next half-century. When you plant, you are visualizing the clock as it will be in its peak maturity. But there are traps. The most dangerous is pruning during a hard winter freeze. Never prune below 20 degrees. The wound cannot callus and pathogens will invade. Dead tissue becomes an entry point for every winter pathogen waiting in your soil. Wait for the safe window, mid-January to February, when temperatures are stable and above 20. If you see buds swelling, stop. The energy has already moved. Wait for the next winter. Dull blades are a biological hazard. They crush the life they are supposed to direct. You want a surgical cut, clean, fast, and angled at 45 degrees to shed the rain. A sharp tool respects the wood. It allows the tree to heal in weeks rather than months. Hygiene is your best defense. Disinfect your blades between every single tree you touch. Never carry the disease of one tree to another. Respect the health of the entire orchard. For the large structural branches, use the saw. Don't force your shears. Respect the tree. A well-curated kit is the hallmark of a master gardener. It is your bridge to abundance. The environment is the clock's atmosphere. Wind and light are the primary variables. A sheltered orchard runs at a more stable temperature, preventing early bud break and frost damage. Light depth is the distance the sun penetrates into the center of the tree. Air is the fuel. By pruning for an open core, you ensure the internal clock is never starved for energy or air. Cold air behaves like water. It flows downhill. Never plant your orchard in a frost pocket. Proper site selection allows the frost to flow away, protecting the delicate blossoms of spring. Let's return to the cut. The winter cut is the most powerful tool in your biological arsenal. Precision is the difference between a wound that heals and a wound that invites rot. Quarter inch. The angle must be 45 degrees. Angle the cut away from the bud to shed the winter rain. Keep the node dry. Fungal spores need dampness to germinate and colonize the tissue. For stone fruits, the clock is faster. Seal every cut within minutes of making it. Do not wait. This is your physical shield against the fungal pathogens of the damp winter air. This is a legacy practice. The tree you prune today is a gift to your grandchildren. You are joining a lineage of monks and homesteaders who kept these secrets for centuries. They survived because they knew how to rewrite the clock. They knew winter is the forge. The secret code of the orchard is yours now, the knowledge of how to force abundance. An untended tree eventually dies and becomes ash. The difference is knowledge and 2 days. This is the harvest you are building. It starts with a single cut in the cold of January. We are entering the golden age of your garden, a time when every tree is an engine of life. Knowledge is the ultimate fertilizer. It costs nothing but time and attention to detail. The taste of a perfect harvest is the only proof you will ever need that the system works. You are the source of this abundance. You are the master of the clock buried in the soil. Rewrite the clock. Rewrite the future of your garden. Abundance is your birthright. The window is open. The clock is in your hands. Get out there and rewrite the future. Subscribe to join this journey. We go deep so your garden can go far. See you in August.